Well, hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So, welcome back to the Vietnam War movie reviews, and this time I've just watched the movie Born on the 4th of July, starring Tom Cruise, also directed by Oliver Stone, who also made, this is the second Vietnam War movie he made. He also made Platoon as well. And I quite enjoyed this movie. You know, like the first time you see the movie, which it's not, but the first time you see the movie, you might not enjoy it too much because it's really over the top. It's really, it's really prim and prime at the beginning, and it's really sort of Americanized and really made to be like the stereotypical American way at the beginning. But the character transformation in the movie is actually amazing. Like, once you watch the movie at least a couple of times, you'll realize that what you see in the beginning is a deliberate filmmaking artistic attempt at just showing a true character transformation, because he starts off as this true American kid, you know, baseball player, religious family, you know, military school, cadets, playing army guys with his buddies, kind of a thing. Like, it starts off as, you know, going to the parade on the 4th of July, which is his birthday. He's born on the 4th of July, going to the parade, everything's all great. Everything's all fantastic, everything's over the top, everything's all proud. And then after he comes back from war, he changes, because he comes back just as the hippie movement is starting to take place in the 1960s and 1970s, protesting the Vietnam War and stuff like that. And he ends up slowly but surely, I mean, he's quite confused, and he spends a lot of time in the hospital, and he travels to Mexico and spends some time with some other disabled veterans and stuff like that. But basically his transformation is that he becomes a hippie protester. And I mean, I don't say hippie in like a derogatory way, but like, he becomes the, you know, as I said, the hippie protester. He becomes the guy that's right there in the crowd shouting, you know, "We don't want your fucking war," kind of a thing, right? And he in the war he got paralyzed, so he's in a wheelchair, and his family is still the same conservative way that he was when they left, and he sort of fits in and sort of thinks he still believes in that stuff at the beginning. But he really starts to take a change of heart and take a change to the people that he cares about, and what he actually thinks about the situation. And he ends up thinking that the war was completely pointless, and it was completely bullshit to have sacrificed all those lives. And he basically ends up becoming right in the crowd with these protesters and stuff like that, and just, it was really good. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Tom Cruise. I do like Tom Cruise, but I'm not a huge fan of him. But this role, there's definitely some roles that are above and beyond just his normal typecast, and this one, he definitely infused a lot of individual creation into it, and he there's the physical transformation, you know, playing a guy in a wheelchair, as well as just, you know, he was all, you know, clean cut and fit and everything in the beginning of the movie, and then he slowly just kind of becomes more of like a rugged, ragged kind of partier, anti this, anti that kind of a guy. And it's quite truly an amazing transformation, and they really did deliberately set the movie up the way they did to really exaggerate and stress this transformation that the character goes through. So I quite enjoy the movie, I quite like it, but nonetheless, it's not perfect. You know, they don't spend a whole lot of time in Vietnam, but what they do is pretty heavy though. And the character in the beginning, like I said, no matter what, like, you understand the genius of the filmmaking after a while, but no matter what, you can't help but to notice the you can't help but to take some flaws out of it from how over the top it is at the beginning. I mean, it really was meant to be that way, but they could have toned down on that just ever so slightly, and it still would have worked. But you can't help but to pick out some flaws in the early part of the movie. Just like it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of people didn't watch the movie through and through because they didn't like the beginning so much. Like, that really wouldn't surprise me that much at all. But it's a good movie. I enjoyed it, and you know, Oliver Stone also did a good job directing this movie. I mean, he fought in the Vietnam War, so this genre of filmmaking is obviously very special to him, and he has a niche for it, and he did a good job again. You know, they do, there's definitely some scenes in the movie that really do like the situation of not just the war, but when the guys were getting back and being razzed by the protesters and being called baby killers and stuff like that. And, you know, with people, the protesters, like, with people not knowing anything about what these guys actually did when they were there, right? But still, just that protester mentality of the time, just target them all no matter what. And it really showed how some good war veterans were treated like shit when they got back, and how there was some severe confrontations between the protesters and the veterans, because they were the government and the towns and that were still trying to do these veterans parade kind of a deals going on, and the hippie protesters were protesting it all, and you know, not treating them very well, and some confrontations ended up happening. They portrayed that very well. And basically, overall, I think it's a good movie. It's definitely not like one of the best Vietnam War movies or anything like that, but it's definitely passable. It's definitely good. I definitely recommend watching it if you haven't seen it already. The movie came out in 1989, so it's fairly older, but quite a very good movie. And I think for grading this one goes, I think I'll give this one just a solid B. Just a straight up B, I think, is what this film deserves. But it's a good one. I'd recommend watching it. So that's my review for Born on the 4th of July, everybody. And thank you very much.